On January 2nd, 2015, adequate notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been furnished by inclusion thereof in the annual schedule of meetings for 2015, which has been posted on the bulletin board at the Borough Hall, filed with the Borough Clerk, faxed to the Hour Town on the record, the community news and the county seat newspapers, and distributed to all persons if any requesting copies of the same pursuant to said act. In case of an emergency or fire alarm, you must evacuate the building by using any of the exit doors in the room. They're immediately to my right, and the double doors at the rear of the room. Occupants must exit the building by using the staircase and not the elevator. This meeting is being recorded by both video and audio and may be rebroadcast.
Can everyone please rise for the invocation?
Let us pray. God of mercy and grace, we thank you for the rich opportunity prepared for us this evening, the opportunity to serve our community afforded by your generosity and the gift of another sunrise. Let us use this opportunity well. Help us to use our talents in service to others, in putting their interests before our own. Give wisdom to our community's leaders so that they may equip us all to be our brothers and sisters' keepers. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Everyone please remain standing for the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started tonight, I ask that we just take a moment to remember a longtime employee of the Borough of Maywood, Mary Kane, who passed away on January 1st at the age of 94. She was a crossing guard in town for 30 years. She retired at age 80. She was an active member of Queen of Peace. She raised 5 children in town, a grandmother of 9 and great-grandmother of 4, and was a crossing guard for my wife for many years. So if we can remember Ms. Kane, who served our borough for many, many years. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Padavano.
Here.
Council members here.
Here.
Eisenberg.
Here.
Maroney.
Here.
Messer.
Here.
Lindenau.
Here.
Fabre.
Here.
Borough Attorney Ronald Dario.
Here.
Borough Administrator Roberta Stern.
Here.
And Borough Clerk Jean Pellegrin. Here.
Okay, first item on the agenda, Mr. Flanagan, Borough Engineer's report.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor and Council, our office issued an engineer's report dated the 9th for tonight's meeting. The first item on the list is the Economic Recovery Program project. To report additional findings, this past Friday, our office met with Mr. Dario's office, Brian Ironman, and the 2 property owners at the subject field locations in both Maywood and Paramus. The property owner in Maywood, which is the doctor's office building, seemed very eager to sign the easement agreement at this time. The property in Paramus requested a copy of our design documents, which we provided to the borough attorney, to be forwarded to their office to review the documents. Subsequent to their in-house engineer's review, it sounded as if they would be moving forward with the easement and the project could proceed accordingly. The second item on the list is the East Hunter Avenue project. Our office on January 7th issued a DOT construction completion letter to begin to have the DOT final inspection occur. At that time, the DOT would inspect the roadway, determine if there are any deficiencies, and then the contractor at that point in time would address any deficiencies that the DOT listed. Subsequent to that would be borough and DOT closeout, at which time the borough would receive the remaining 25% of the outstanding grant funds for the project. The third item on the list is the Central Avenue PSE&G improvement project. As of the 5th of January, there were no improvements occurring on Central Avenue. The fourth item on the list is the Maywood Avenue streetscape project. In mid-December, our office had completed the survey for the project. We've illustrated the location of the right-of-way line and the improvements from the building walls of each of the businesses along Maywood Avenue, and then also illustrated the improvements outside or inside of the roadway within the right-of-way. There appears to be limited right-of-way between the curb line and the right-of-way line, and a substantial area between the right-of-way line to the building wall locations. So it'd be our recommendation at this time to meet with the borough and then potentially meet with the property owners to discuss how we would address those impacts, if the businesses would contribute, or how the governing body would want to proceed with the project. Subsequent to that, we would then begin to prepare the design document so that it could be bid properly and accordingly for the governing body. The West Pleasant Avenue traffic circulation is the fifth item within our list. That project has been placed on hold until the weather breaks. The surface or striping that's to occur within the roadway needs to adhere during warmer temperatures, and that would occur during the spring. And then the final two items relate to construction cost estimates that we've provided to the borough to review and consider, and then potentially consider for any bonding purposes if they fell to do so accordingly. We will be taking a second look at the Oak Avenue project and addressing the construction cost estimate to eliminate some of the sidewalk improvements, curbing improvements, and driveway apron improvements, to illustrate a second alternative if the borough wanted to consider it, which would be more cost-effective and require less funding by our capital funds. That conclude our report. I'd be glad to address any questions or comments the governing body had.
Just with regard to the streetscapes project on the south side of town, there's been discussion about one of the traffic light poles is damaged there. Maybe during a construction truck might have hit it or whatever. And obviously will probably need to be reset or replaced. Is there a way to perhaps incorporate the streetscape type poles that we have on Pleasant Avenue, the type of look to those traffic lights?
We definitely could. I think they would exceed the grant funding, so the borough may require some additional capital funds, but that definitely could be included as part of the bid documents if the borough would like us to do so.
Maybe if you can get a cost estimate
Sure.
on that, just to see if it's feasible at this time, or if that's another phase we do in the future. But if we're replacing one of those poles now, it may make all the sense in the world to go for the upgrade.
Could we possibly think not the things, the guards that come down to the railroad, but the metal casings that hold them the same green as the
I don't think so. I think that's controlled by the railroad. And I think we had a discussion with the president of the railroad to see if they had any historical looking, gates or things like that. And I think the answer was no, because of the regulations they have to follow to be traffic safety.
Correct.
But it would be nice to kind of have a retro look on those as well.
And just to add on to the traffic signal pole or foundation location, the police chief I know had solicited a firm, acquired a quote, I believe, for approximately $8,500 to $8,900 to address the foundation. We requested that, since the chief had acquired the quote, to acquire another two quotes for consideration by the governing body, if you chose to just address the foundation at this time.
One of the issues is Alan Brightway is one of the only people that does do it. They're the ones that the county uses. We've gone through this before when we had the problem at Spring Valley and Spring Valley. There isn't anybody else to get the quote from, but obviously we'll continue to try, but that's been the history on that. One of the things that we did want to talk about was whether or not, if the county is doing any of the drainage work at that intersection, does it pay for us to do that work on the traffic signal now, or wait until such time? Because if it's not life-threatening and we don't think the pole's going to fall down, then it seems to me we should wait until we see what the county's doing as far as the drainages at that corner. It was something that I was going to talk to you about during the week.
There will be catch basins placed at that intersection, so there will be some disturbing of the concrete related to the sidewalk in that area. We don't envision the foundations being compromised at all as it relates to it, but if you'd like to wait till that point in time, we don't think it's a health and safety issue at this point in time that the pole's going to fall down and collapse and create any issues for the public.
Fred, are we looking in summer for that to happen?
Based on our discussions originally, it was to occur this summer. With the change in administration, I don't know
Just
what
gonna say,
their program
I think
is
something
now.
that we need to talk to the new county executive about, if they're going to move forward and put us back in line where we were over a year ago, and then they pulled out and went to a couple of other towns. Maybe, there'll be some way for us to get back in line at the head of the line for that.
Greg, I have two questions.
Sure.
On the PSE&G,
Mhm.
you said it was halted. Do you have any timeframe as to when it's going to continue or start up again?
I don't, but I'd be glad to contact PSE&G and find that out.
Okay. And the second thing is on the West Pleasant Avenue, that striping.
Mm-hmm.
The last paragraph mentions that it had, I guess, requested a proposal for construction management. Is that something that is normally done for something that is that type of work? It seems like it's pretty straightforward, that I don't know if it would really require a construction
But
management.
the only reason we would recommend is just because if they do make a mistake in the field when they do construct it, they wouldn't have us to direct them accordingly. And there is paperwork that's required to be filed as part of it for you to acquire the remainder of your grant funding as it relates to it. Being that it's a DOT job and it is construction management services, not design services, and based upon the quote that you've received from Straight Edge, there is money within the grant that could be reimbursed so that the borough wouldn't be expending that money. The money would be coming out of the grant itself based
Okay.
upon the prices that you received.
Thanks.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Fornier? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. The work session items, any items on or off the agenda? Anything to hear? Anything
No.
on or off the agenda? Anything on or off the agenda, Mr. Eisenberg?
Just following up on the crosswalks on Passaic Street, I think we should move forward with a resolution at minimum with the crosswalks there. I'm fairly confident if we do that, that we can get the county to do it. If they don't, all we lost was a little bit of time passing a resolution.
Well, if we could have the police department come up with a recommendation as to exactly where to...
Sure.
And maybe Mr. Messar, you can have a conversation with the traffic division, Sergeant Worrell, and get their input on where they think the best location for the crosswalk would be. Take it from there.
The bus stop is now presently just west of the gas station at Palmer and Passaic. So probably something close to the bus stop, because close to most of them.
Yeah, I can't recall exactly what they were talking about, the location previously, because that road does have a bit of a rise in it when you're coming up, easterly direction, I would say. But I'm sure the traffic division will give good guidance on that.
Thank you.
Mr. Maroney, anything on our agenda?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Messar?
No, Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Lindenau?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Council President for Borough?
No, sir.
Borough Attorney?
No, sir.
Borough Administrator?
Nope.
Borough Clerk?
Just that everybody take up their new agenda. Since Friday, it has been amended to include a new resolution and appointment.
Thank you. Okay, we have no proclamations. At this time, we'll open the meeting to the public. Anybody from the public wishes to speak, please come forward. State your name and address, please.
John Brown, 41 Snelling Avenue. Question about the resolution about the HVAC. How old is that unit?
How what?
Old?
How old is
Age,
it?
yeah.
The unit?
Yeah.
10
Old?
years.
Old's the building?
Yeah.
And is it the only one that's up there?
No. There are
Ah.
about 5 or 6 in different
Ah,
places,
that's like the
and that
10.
one's the one we've been having the most trouble with.
10K wouldn't do it for
No,
that building.
it's one of
Okay, thank you.
6.
Anybody else from the public wish to speak? Come on. State your name and address, please.
Hildegard Amsler, residing at 65 Edgewood Place, corner of South Elm. Recently listening to some of the YouTube videos of council meetings, I'm amazed at the many issues that you all have to address. Who would have thought that in a town so small? Clearly, that takes a lot of your time, clearly more time than what is just spent here in these chambers, so we thank you for all of your efforts on behalf of Maywood. Given the diversity and volume of issues, one can understand that from time to time perhaps errors can occur. Would I be in error to assume that none of you use the New Jersey Transit buses on a regular basis?
I don't know. We can go on, you can ask them individually after the meeting, but...
I can't ask
this portion of the
collectively?
meeting is directed through me.
Okay, then I'm asking, do you know if any of them are
I don't
regular?
know.
Okay, I saw heads shaking in the negative, and since we're not in South India, that means a no. Thank you. South India, it means a yes, but never mind, as they say.
South Indian, you said?
Yeah, shaking of the head, what we assume to be a no actually is affirmative.
Yes.
Go figure. A lot of things you can't figure. I'm trying to get to the bottom of what I can't figure out,
All right.
so here we are, okay? So none of you use the buses, or,
Well,
okay,
no,
we're going to
that's
assume.
not true. South Indian, there's a few North Indian residents here, so let's move on with it, shall we?
Yes, please. Anyway, with the exception of Mr. DeHare, I know you were not here on September 30th, but this council voted yes on resolution number 141-14. You recall what that was, or do I need to clarify?
I think you should clarify.
Oh, okay. It changed the bus location on Passaic Street from South Elm to east of some little sort of street
About
cul-de-sac
300 feet
called
east.
Elizabeth Court.
About 300 feet east.
300, is that what it is exactly?
There's something.
Okay.
No, it isn't.
If it wasn't so cold,
Thereabouts.
I would have walked all this off, but in this bitter cold, and given my age, it's not going to happen until the weather gets milder. So, anyway, that resolution was acted on without the input of my neighbors. Neighbors whose daughter comes to visit them by bus, the neighbor who recently retired and discovered the convenience of having a bus on the corner to see a matinee, and without the input of newer residents to whom the convenience of a bus on the corner was a factor in their buying in our neighborhood. And our neighborhood has seen a bit of change due to aging of some of the residents, and the turnover the houses have sold fast because the convenience of a bus was a factor in the properties moving fast. They don't sit on the market for months dragging down values. But it's not just about convenience and property values. I'm here because it's hugely also about safety. The new location of the stop now requires a steep downhill walk over driveways and streets, putting passengers at risk of being struck by southbound right-hand turning vehicles. One is forced to walk over the Elizabeth Court Street, or whatever we call that, and you go from sidewalk right into pothole hazards to get to the new stop. What was the reason for the change of this location? Why was this done without notice, without any input from the many who use the stop at South Elm?
Go on.
And why was it done by resolution, as opposed to an ordinance, which would have required publication?
The resolution was done at a public meeting.
Without notice, though?
No, it was done at a noticed public meeting, open to the public.
The meeting was noticed.
People could talk about it. It was also done at the County Freeholders Committee meeting. It was also done by New Jersey Transit, who had to sign off on it.
Yes, I've seen the sign-offs, but how was the average resident affected by this? How would we have known?
You'd have to talk to New Jersey Transit. I guess they notify their riders, I guess.
No, they don't. There was no the notification was after the fact. Sign was gone, and there's a
And you
piece
moved
of...
about 300 feet to the east?
Yes, I'm going to hand you out where I'm coming from.
Oh, I think we know where you're coming from. You can hand them to the Borough Clerk, please. Hand them to the Borough Clerk, please.
Oh, she has to hand them out?
Yeah, you can hand them to the Borough Clerk. That'll be good.
Okay. Prior to the change, the stops were equally were equal in distance. In other words, the stop to the west was between Oak and Maywood, the stop to the west was between Oak and Maywood, and the stop, obviously, that I'm referring to was at the corner of South Elm, and then the next stop was the stop in front of the senior housing high-rise building. Equal distance apart. If you go from the blue to the blue with the X, I X'd it because now it doesn't exist, to skip that blue, which is to the east of Elizabeth Court, to the last blue, which is the one in front of the senior housing. And you can see the equal in thirds division. If we now, of course, take out the X because it's not there anymore, it's no longer equal. This map is a district voting map. That's what the DIS represents. I thought I'd use an official map, but in retrospect, not such a great idea. And if you see where it is now, how many right-hand southbound turns are possible. And by having changed the location, people are now forced to walk in Hazard's Way. Most of the traffic to this stop, the passengers came from either South Elm, Edgewood Place, or from the north. Now, I don't know the stories of the people from the north, but there are many. I don't know them. I only know my neighborhood people and how we have now been impacted by this. And without notice, without our input, it's not good.
May I respond to it?
Please, yes.
With respect to value of the homes, arguments can be made both ways with bus stops. The argument can be made that some people don't like a bus stop in front of their house because the
I'm not
bus,
talking about in front of the house.
even near their house, the noise when they accelerate out of the dead stop, the exhaust. There's other people that like them closer. You know, an appraiser could argue that either way. And I don't think it's affecting value, and I don't think a few hundred feet is changing the value of the properties. If there's all these people, bring them in. Where are they all?
Well, first of all, there's been no notice. I mean, this is like we just discovered this when suddenly the stop is not there, okay? That's...
And as far as it
And I can
being-
tell you, the houses in our neighborhood turn over like this. And from personal conversations, the convenience is a factor.
As far as it being publicized, at minimum, the agenda is put on Friday, and 3 days, I mean, it may not be a long period of time, but you've got 3 days, you didn't show up at the meeting when we voted on it.
Well, because I didn't, like everybody else, I didn't know about it.
Ma'am, I don't want to
I would
interrupt
have
you.
been here.
Council, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We have a 5-minute.
Yes, I understand that. We would have been here had we known. Okay, this is like out of nowhere, after the fact.
Thank you.
After the fact. So will someone look into this? Who do I get back to? Who, what?
Talk to the Borough Clerk.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else from the public wish to speak? Okay, close it to the public, and we will move on to the agenda. There are no public ordinances at this time. We have a couple of minutes. December 9, 2014, work session and closed session minutes. Up for approval. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion for approval.
Second.
Roll call.
DeHere,
Abstain.
Eisenberg,
Yes.
Maroney,
Yes.
Messer,
Yes.
Lindenau,
Yes.
Sedgwick.
Yes.
Presentation of bills and claims, request for public comment. There's bill resolution and supplemental bill resolution. Is there any public comment on the bills? I want to take a motion for approval of the bills. Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
DeHere,
Yes.
Eisenberg,
Yes.
Maroney,
Yes.
Messer,
Yes.
Lindenau,
Yes.
Sedgwick.
Yes. Correspondence and report of the Borough Clerk.
I do not have a report this evening.
Borough Administrator.
No report, Mayor. I just have one item for closed session.
Borough Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, we have a closed session item.
Committee reports. Councilman DeHere.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I met with the construction official and the building department staff this week. The training on the new software is going well. They're having their third class tomorrow, 14th, and they did mention that it's been working well. It's an asset for property management, and it's a big help to them in tracking any fines that have resulted from property management issues, as well as permit processing. In speaking to the construction official, Unity Church will be occupying the former Redeemer Church, and the Korean congregation will be occupying the former temple. One of the new homes on Maywood Avenue by Our Lady Queen of Peace has been issued a certificate of occupancy. A second home has been sold. The two end houses, the two in the middle, are not sold. Permit has been issued for a new home on Toma, and also one of the last, if not the last, commercial space on West Pleasant has been rented, the former Hillman's Luncheonette, and that was also discussed at the SID meeting I attended. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Eisenberg.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I met extensively with the tax assessor, and we're going to be going over a number of things in the coming weeks to review the tax appeals that we have presently, which are mostly commercial. I think there might be one or possibly two residential, but most of them are commercial. And we're going to be going over some thoughts about how we may reduce them in the future. The good thing is that the economy is helping reduce them because values are rising. But there were a couple of ideas that the assessor had, and he and I are going to thoroughly review them. I'm also taking a look at what would be involved to stick the property record cards and possibly a photograph of the home on the state website that has all the assessments. If you take a look at TNEC, all of their property record cards are online. If you look at Tenafly, there's a photo of every house. To the best of my knowledge, and I don't want to speak affirmatively too soon, the site does not charge to have that on there. The only cost is the labor of getting it up there. These documents, like the property record cards, are already in PDF format, capable of being generated and uploaded. So we're going to take a look at what's involved to do that. Hopefully the cost is not significant at all. That would drop a number of requests to the assessor's office because he's part-time. He's in 1 day a week. And so people call all week, and there's, he's not there to give them a copy of the property record card. I know that the clerk can do it, and of course under Oprah, that's a requirement, but that's additional labor for the clerk. And if they were online, this might lighten some of the labor load on both the clerk and the assessor. So I will report in the coming weeks on what's involved to do that. One of the other things covered by my liaisonship this year is reviewing the ordinances. And so I'm going to be reading through all the ordinances, finding the ones that are outdated and either need revision or just complete dissolution and get rid of them. And I stumbled on one that's sort of interesting because it's done purely on a voluntary basis, although the ordinance requires it to be done by everybody. That would be the bicycle ordinance. I'll read it to you. No bicycle owned by a resident of the borough shall be operated within the borough unless the owner thereof first obtains a license evidenced by a registration card and a registration tag as provided in this chapter, and in addition thereto attaches said registration tag to such bicycle as provided in this chapter. If anybody would like to see a copy of a bicycle license, my printer is showing it red, but they're actually orange. And they are actually a license plate. This one is from 1974.
Those are a bit out of scale for anybody in the audience looking at this. They're not that large.
No, they're small. But
They actually have metal pieces that fit around the bike frame.
there's a lot of kids that are going to owe their allowance money here if we don't change this ordinance, because most bicycles are in violation as the ordinance reads presently. The clerk and I did call down to the chief. They had 2 applications last year. It seems that the reason people are getting bike licenses today is not to comply with the ordinance, but to register high-end bicycles. Some bikes can be $5,000 if they're carbon fibers or alloys, and they're doing it more for trafficking purposes if there's a
So
theft.
they can insure them.
And possibly for insurance as well. There was an effort, I don't know if it was the Boy Scouts or the school a couple of years back, to get some registered, and there were a number of licenses that year, but still a tiny fraction compared to every kid that has license now. And so my suggestion with this ordinance would be to make it a voluntary ordinance. Keep it for purposes of registering for theft and whatnot, but not make it mandatory. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Miller? Yes, Mr. Mayor. My new liaisonship to the Board of Education, I went to the board meeting. They were Ms. Kylie and Ms. Chigarelli in for their terms, as well as voting in Kevin Taylor as president and Julio Benders as vice president. And Ms. Chigarelli volunteered to be the liaison to the Hackensack Board of Education. On the January 8th, the prosecutor's office had an intimate safety meeting for parents at the Maywood Avenue School, and it was very well done. Included in it was some videos. It was strictly for parents, but the turnout was wonderful, actually. There's probably a good, I would say, over 200 people were there. And they weren't strictly from Maywood. And they talked about instant messaging, sexting, chat rooms, and what have you. And there's some real good information. And so if anyone has or wants more information on it, they could see the Maywood Police Department for that. That's all. Councilman Missa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hit the ground running for 2015 with my new liaisonships. Met with the police chief to discuss a whole bunch of things. First and foremost, our new hire, Brian Rubio, is doing very well. They're keeping him very busy. I also met with the municipal prosecutor and the recreation director, and the recreation director wanted me to pass along that March is going to be Youth Munch in the Borough of Maywood. Participation in this program for those who are interested will look good for them because it will be used as community service. It's a little different format this year than just shadowing a member of the council or a borough employee. Youth who are interested in doing the program will attend one of many borough functions or meetings over the month. For example, planning board, mayor and council, library board, even the volunteer organizations in town, the MYA and MRPGS, in order to participate in the program. And applications have gone out to the local high schools and grades 7 to 12, and responses are coming in, so we're looking forward to that in March. And that's my report. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Linden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With that recent snow we had about a week or so ago, which wasn't much, but it was a good opportunity with the cold weather we had to try out the calcium chloride with the salters. Roy was very impressed with how well it worked and how quickly it worked, and feels real good about it moving forward. Everything's ready to go. One of the salters is being repaired right now, but no, one's gone. I spoke to Roy today. So there's just one that's being repaired, which he expects to be done probably tomorrow or at worst Thursday, and the weather forecast going forward, we're in good shape right now, so fingers crossed. That's all I have.
I want to comment that they did such a good job that they now melted the snow on my sidewalk as well. I'm sorry.
Just for the record, there are 2 council members that live in Washington now. I would like to...
We get a little extra salt on the
investigation as to what is going on. Obviously, we have an appointment on for the DPW tonight as well, and I presume that after things settle down a little bit, DPW will get moving with getting that wish list together?
Yes, I already asked Roy to reshuffle that list that he had given us a few months ago and reprioritize a few of the items and getting new equipment hopefully very soon.
Council President Fabray.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. As you know, several weeks ago, I reported that the ladder truck had an accident. It is now currently out of town, and it's getting fixed. The damage from the accident is getting fixed. It'll be out approximately 2 weeks, and then it's going to be sent to fire safety the first week of February to have anything looked at with PMs, the preventive maintenance, to see if there are any repairs needed. And in the meantime, we are being covered by Rochelle Park with their ladder truck, and the members of the company are responding in the rescue truck. So we are well covered. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Great. One item, obviously, we have shuffled meetings this month, where we don't have a work session meeting per se, but one of the items I think that the police department advised us of was the recommendations for the towing ordinances or towing licenses for 2015, which is probably something we should put on the next agenda in accordance with the recommendations that was previously submitted by the police chief. We should take a look at the memo that came around on that. I don't think there's any changes from last year's recommendations. So unless anybody has a problem, we should probably go ahead and put that on the February meeting so that we address that. The current licensed tow companies are staying on as holdovers until the council takes formal action for 2015, but obviously that's something that should be done sooner than later. The swimming pool committee met, Councilman Maroney and I and the borough administrator with the committee last evening, and they had a very productive meeting and are looking at revamping the rules for 2015 in accordance with some of the public comments that was made last year and some of the changes that the committee feels is necessary. And the renovations will continue down at the pool with some new benches and eating area maybe this year, and some projections or goals for future improvements as well. All under the guise of trying to drum up more membership and get more families involved in getting memberships to the pool this year. The rabies clinic with the Board of Health is Okay. Rabies clinic is on January 21st, 7 to 9, is that correct?
Yes.
7 to 9?
Yeah.
At the
At
senior
the
center.
Senior Rec Center, and that's usually a very well-done program by the Board of Health. And Borough Clerk's office also assists in that, in the licensing of the dogs. So, in the dog park licenses as well. That was all with that. The planning board is looking at revamping the zoning ordinances. Their subcommittee met about a week or so ago, and we'll have some proposed changes that the board will discuss at their upcoming reorg meeting next week, and I presume they will be making recommendations to the mayor and council for revisions of the planning and zoning ordinance very soon, and something that, they will get involved with as well, Mr. Eisenberg. There was a very productive meeting of the SID last week. As everybody will recall, at the reorg meeting, we adopted a resolution waiving the collection of the SID fees as part of what was part of an economic plan to sustain the businesses on Pleasant Avenue. Right now, there's an ordinance, if everybody's aware, the ordinance is an ordinance creating a special improvement district that incorporates all of East and West Pleasant Avenue stores. There's an annual licensing fee that goes along with that is usually paid. The borough has not collected that fee in 2013 and 2014 on purpose, with the intent of making sure that the businesses down there will have experienced the downturn that was going on in the national state economy, to not overburden them with additional taxes. It seems to be working since there is about one vacancy on that block at this point, and things are going well with that. However, the SID met this week, the members of the SID met this week, and have decided that rather than doing a blanket fee that would just be thrown into the coffers, that the SID members, along with talking to members of the Chamber of Commerce and the business owners, are going to meet and come up with specialized projects that they may think is necessary for Pleasant Avenue, whether it be additional bollard-type planters that are going to potentially stop cars from getting in between the existing bollards, or other kinds of aesthetic improvements, that these little projects will be something that is more economically feasible for the businesses to pay a lesser fee than what is in the ordinance, and that will obviously have to be approved by the council to allow a lesser collection if in fact there are certain specific projects. Right now, under the ordinance, I think the borough would collect about $30,000 or $35,000 if everybody paid the full amount. And I think that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Borough Clerk, that the main purpose of that collection was to pay off a parking lot that was purchased many years ago next to what was the old hardware store. And part of the economic recovery idea, I guess, was that stores on the westerly end of Pleasant Avenue, like the Maywood Inn or the Fish Market or Krauser's or things like that, are not truly benefiting from that parking lot as much as certainly stores closer to Maywood Avenue would be. And in my opinion, rolling that into a fee that is only taxed in essence to those properties on Pleasant Avenue is a bit of budgetary trickery, if you want. It benefits all of us in this town to have a vibrant and sustained downtown. That downtown is the identity of this borough. We don't have a lot of industry, we don't have a lot of commercial property. The vast majority of conglomeration of our commercial property is on that Pleasant Avenue. So, although the parking lot is a great idea, and maybe can function a little better, and Mr. Eisenberg and I have talked, and other council members have talked about perhaps changing the directional access to that parking lot. And that parking lot is a great benefit to East Pleasant Avenue, but it is a benefit to the town first and foremost, I think. So I think it is a responsibility of the town to pay for that parking lot, and we will continue to do so as part of the budget, and look for specialized improvements through the SID that they think will benefit each property or each business more effectively than just randomly plugging in some money. So the SID will continue to work on that. Obviously, all council members are members of the SID, and will have their input at the SID as well as at the council. But I think that's they're in pretty good shape to do some effective improvements or maintenance or specialized projects on East and West Pleasant Avenue throughout the year. So, 2 cents on the SID. That is all I have at this time. We can move along on the next agenda item. There's one resignation, Daniel Kiley from the Department of Public Works, effective January 16, 2015. It is with regret and best wishes that we say goodbye to Mr. Kiley as he moves on to another position in another town. Is there a motion to accept the resignation?
So moved.
Second. Roll.
DeGear?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Maroney?
Yes.
Nessa?
Yes.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Sedgwick?
Yes.
We have 2 appointments on for tonight. Jason DeLea is a regular member of Peerless Engine Company, effective January 13, 2015, and Eric Fleischman is Department of Public Works Supervisor at an annual salary of $65,000, effective January 20, 2015. Is there a motion for the appointments?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
DeGear?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Maroney?
Yes.
Nessa?
Yes.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Sedgwick?
Yes.
We have no other items for council approval. We have resolutions by title.
Resolution 3815, resolution supporting the Bergen County Mutual Aid Plan and rapid deployment force in the Borough of Maywood, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey. Resolution 3915, a resolution authorizing the replacement, purchase, and installation of an HVAC unit for the Borough of Maywood Municipal Complex.
Is there a motion for the adoption?
Motion to adopt.
Second. Roll call.
DeGear?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Maroney?
Yes.
Nessa?
Yes.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Sedgwick?
Yes.
There are no ordinances on for introduction this evening. Is there any new business? The old business? Miscellaneous business? Was it miscellaneous business? Last year was the 120th anniversary of the borough, this year being the 121st anniversary of the borough. I encourage everyone to learn about the history of the borough of Maywood, read Mr. Kaminsky's book about the railroad and the borough, talk to Betty Fetzer, our borough historian, go to the borough history website, go to the borough's website, learn about the history of Maywood. The historical trivia of the day, since we're talking about appointments of firemen, Undyne Hose Company will be celebrating their 110th anniversary this year. They formed in 1905 as the second fire company formed in this borough. Protection Hook and Ladder being the first, which was formed in 1897 and started by Gustav Fetzer, who was the grandfather of our current borough historian, Betty Fetzer.
Yeah.
Peerless Engine Company, which was originally known as Peerless Hose Company, was started in 1908. Protection Hook and Ladder got its first motorized ladder truck in 1916. Undyne had their first motorized vehicle in 1921, and Peerless, I don't have an exact date, but it was in the 20s as well. All the current trucks and engines that we have in this borough were purchased in 1995. That is your trivia of the day. There are matters for closed session. Is there a motion to go into closed session for personnel matters, I believe?
Yes. Motion to go into close.
Second. Roll call.
Sehier?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Maroney?
Yes.
Messer?
Yes.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Severett?
Yes. Be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Maywood pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, the Mayor and Council will close session on the subject matter personnel. Be resolved that as is determined at the time of discussion of such and such closed session, those in the public want to take final action thereon, provided disclosure not violation of the content or content of the invasion of privacy. Be it further resolved, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Maywood cannot envision a return to open session after this meeting, but reserve the right to do so.
Mayor, if I could, there is actually one contract issue to be discussed too.
Before everybody leaves this room, while Ms. McNamara is here with her camera, perhaps we can get a class photo of sorts for 2015. Don't mind?
Class photo.
All right.